and welcome to another episode of Retrospective Gaming. In this episode, we'll be covering the classic Fallout. Now, I was very eager to bring this episode on this classic game to you guys, but before we move on, I want to mention a couple of things. One, I am using the Fallout Fixed mod, and it's a mod that I recommend highly. And to all you purists out there, don't worry, you can download a version of the mod that just fixes the technical issues without changing the game at all. So I highly recommend it. And two, you guys know how I do it. This is going to be as spoiler free as possible. That's just how I do it. But let's move on to Fallout.
You're here. Good. We've got a problem. A big one. The controller chip for our water purification system has given up the ghost. Can't make another one, and the process is too complicated for a workaround system. Simply put, we're running out of drinking water. No water, no vault. This is crucial to our survival. And frankly, I think you're the only hope we have. You need to go find us another controller chip. We estimate we have 4 to 5 months before the vault runs out of water. We need that chip. We marked your map with the location of another vault. Not a bad place to start, I think. Look, just be safe. Okay?
The story starts off with you, the vault dweller, leaving your vault to be sent on a mission to find the water chip to save Vault 13. Now, don't worry, there is a hell of a lot more to the story than that. It's way deeper than you think, and I won't try to spoil much, but I will let you know a couple of things. It involves bigotry and super mutants, a lot of them. What I really love about the story is the impact your choices make on the world. There are different endings and different ways to go about the story in Fallout, and I truly love that. But one thing that really stuck in my head is that when you finally meet the entity that is behind this big conspiracy, and you finally get to have a conversation with him, that conversation in itself was really deep and it stuck with me to figure out his motive, to figure out why is he doing everything, just to get his perception of what's going on in the world and how he views things. It was very odd and it was very eerie, and it stuck with me even after I beat the game. And that's the great thing about Fallout. And let me tell you, this game stumped me a lot. There was a lot of situations in the story that it really took me truly, and I mean truly, thinking to figure out a solution to the problems. An example was at the Mariposa military base, hope I said that right, in dealing with the force fields. Now, I vowed to beat this game without any sort of walkthrough whatsoever, and it took me a long time on my first playthrough to figure out how to disable these force fields, and it stumped me, and I was at the point where I was ready to give up and finally look up a way how to do it. So when I finally accomplished that, when I finally disabled the force fields and got through the area, it really gave me a sense of accomplishment that made me feel good for using my brain to get out of a situation. And not many games do that. You see, lots of games just point you in the direction where you need to go and let you know right off the bat what you need to do. They give you instructions and all you have to do is follow it. Not in this game. You truly have to think for yourself and really use your head to get out of these situations. And that's what I loved about Fallout. And one small minor thing I want to talk about, and it impacted me in a big way, is the town of Shady Sands. Now, when you enter when you enter the town with your gun equipped, the people will tell you to put your weapon away. Now, in most games, this is just an empty threat, and they never follow up on anything they mean, and you can just walk through the town unless you attack anybody unharmed. But when I entered this town with my gun, everyone in the town tried killing me, and that's another thing that I love about Fallout, the small things like that really bring you into the world. And the last thing that really stuck with me about the story in Fallout is the feeling that you really have to survive. You see, when you're traveling the world, you run into random encounters, and they can be anything. Sometimes enemies you can face, and other times enemies you have no business being in battle with, and you better get your ass out of there or you're dead. And that feeling of hopelessness, that feeling of surviving, especially in the beginning, really drew me into the world very fast. So different endings, truly freedom in the ways you get to handle things in the world. And the dialogue. The dialogue really stuck with me, and certain parts of the game I will probably remember for the rest of my life. I mean it, and that's why the story is, in my opinion, fantastic in Fallout, and you have to play it to believe it and see it for yourself. The one thing I can say about the gameplay in Fallout is that it does not hold your hand, and it does require thinking, and it handed me my ass a couple of times on a silver platter. I'm not playing. You see, combat is turn-based, which means you have to think your strategies out, and you have to really understand, is this battle worth going into or not? And AP determines everything you do. How many steps you could take, how many times you can fire your gun. If after firing your gun you can use a stim pack to heal yourself really quick. And trust me, especially for newcomers, it can be difficult. Let me give you an example. Now, when I first played this game, it was pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that just because I played Fallout 3 in New Vegas before, that I was gonna come into this game and whip ass. But my ass got handed to me. And this game humbled me very quick. And one of those times is when I finally got the hunting rifle. I really thought I was on top of the world, and I really thought I was going to do some serious damage until I encountered some super mutants, and all it took was a couple of turns. A super mutant with a minigun tore me limb from limb and left me dead, and me being a dummy, I forgot to save, and my last save was about an hour and a half ago. And that's what it comes down to in Fallout 1 in terms of gameplay. Thinking, and knowing that in some battles, it is better to run away and to really think about the character you want to make, because it really does help you out in the long run if you really think about the type of character you want to make in the beginning. One thing else that I want to add is that I was amazed by the amount of guns that they had in this game. You see, since this game came out in the late 90s, I really thought it wasn't going to have much an assortment of weapons, but it really did had a lot of good weapons in this game. But me, if you want some advice from me personally, energy weapons are your best friend, especially later in the game. They helped me out tremendously. And I know what some of you are thinking. Can you aim at enemies' certain body parts like the head or arm? Yes, you can. Don't worry about that. But no slow motion cam this time, guys. Now, there are a couple negatives that I found. Number one, followers. Like in most games, I feel that they just get in the way more than they do help. And the second thing is bugs. There are quite an amount of bugs in this game. Now, did I find anything game breaking? Really no, just annoyances. But there was one time where this area kept on repeating after I tried moving on to the next area, and I had to reload a last save. So that was the only time that happened, and I didn't have no problem after that. But yeah, you just a little warning, like every other game, there are bugs, but nothing that I found too bad, but still, some might annoy you. One last thing before we move on to sound and atmosphere. On the topic of perks and skills, there are some skills that I've honestly found completely useless, and I'm not calling it a negative or anything. It really depends on the type of person, I guess, but I just found some of the skills completely useless. And on perks, I just tended to focus only on the perks that help me out in combat. But like I said, it's an open-ended game. You're free to make the character that you want, and that's the beauty of Fallout. And I can tell you that the first time I played this game, I'm not gonna lie, I made a bad character, and he got his butt handed to him plenty of times. Luckily I restarted. Now let's move on. When it comes to sound and atmosphere, Fallout is one of the best games to ever do it. Now, some characters do have voice acting, and I have no problem with their voice acting because they do it pretty well. And the guns and the way everything sounds is perfectly fine to me. But what I really want to talk about is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is nothing short of phenomenal. It is that amazing. And one of the first times that I really discovered how great the soundtrack was is when I put my headphones in and I went into Vault 15 and I heard this odd music, this eerie. It had me right on my feet. It had me feeling that impending doom was right around the corner and that I had to be on my feet and be ready for anything. And that's what the music in Fallout does. The soundtrack is amazing. Each track that I've heard, I fell in love with. And I love this so much that I downloaded it because it was that great. I'm not kidding. And it blends in and it matches the atmosphere perfectly, whether you're going into the Brotherhood of Steel headquarters, or you're going into Vault 13, or you're going into the military base. No matter where you go in the world, the atmosphere is top notch, and it should keep you on your toes no matter where you go. And this is one of the games that prove that you don't have to have that graphics is not everything. And when the art direction, soundtrack, and everything else is on point, graphics take a back seat to everything else. And that's how good Fallout is. I highly recommend Fallout. The atmosphere in this game is brilliant, and the soundtrack is fucking amazing. The whole game is amazing, and I highly recommend it. Now, there are some issues that I had with bugs, and if you play this game, you're probably going to encounter them, but that shouldn't stop you from trying it out. And I especially recommend this to people that only know of Fallout through Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. Try this game out, and I'm pretty sure you'll love it, and after that, go try Fallout 2. This game can be hard for newcomers, but it's not impossible. Just learn the mechanics and use your brain, and you'll be fine. And thanks for watching another episode. Now, this video kicked off the summer of Fallout for my channel. Now, for those of you who don't remember or don't know, that basically means the first video of every month of summer is going to be a Fallout game, which means the first video next month will be Fallout 2, and the other month after that, Fallout 3. I already did an episode on Fallout New Vegas, so if you're interested, go check that out. And I might do an episode on Fallout Tactics this summer, but it's most likely going to come out after summer. But that doesn't mean that I'm not doing videos for the rest of this summer. There will be other videos on this channel, so don't worry. So I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you stay well, and have a great day. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, why not check the rest of my content out and consider subscribing and supporting me by hitting that subscribe button. Have a great day.